students, in the previous class we have discussed letters and sounds of English. So in today's session you will be learning why certain letters are silent. You have a doubt, right? At the same time, when you are pronouncing past tense words, like when you are adding inflections ed or t or d to the verb form, how to pronounce them? Like everybody are interested to pronounce like Britishers, because English is the mother tongue of Britain. So when you want to pronounce exactly like that, first you need to learn step by step, so that if you keep on using the same kind of language, if you keep on using the words exactly how they're supposed to pronounce, after a couple of months you will, by default, you will pronounce exactly. So shall we start? At the same time, you have, yes, especially you have nouns. When you are adding s or es or ies to nouns, you will be getting plural forms. So like for example, bus, singular, buses, plural. So where you have to pronounce es as s, where you need to pronounce es as z or is, there are specific rules. Shall we see those rules? And it's not only watching the rules and neglecting, you have to practice when you are using them in your day-to-day life. Then only you can acquire the language. Language acquisition is very, very important. It is easy to learn English rather than your mother tongue. You are fluent and very, very good at speaking your mother tongue, right? So obviously you can do it in English also. Shall we go ahead? So rules of silent letters. Initially I told you about the rules of silent letters. There are 10 rules. If you observe carefully, you will know which letter has to be silent. That means which letter you are not supposed to pronounce. So the first rule is, in H is silent in the sequence of GH when it comes in the word initial position. Second rule is, B is silent in the word sequence MB or BT at the word end position or word final position. See here, closed, GH in the word initial position, and you need to pronounce G only. You're not supposed to pronounce H. And then B is silent in the sequence of MB and BT in the word final position, like for example, comb, doubt. And there's an exception where plumber. So even B comes in the middle, but it is silent. Plumber. And third rule is, K is silent when it comes in the sequence of KN in the word initial position, like knee, knowledge, like that. And then the next rule is, when the sequence of the letter, so the third rule, LK and LM comes in the word final position, then L is silent, like for example, talk, walk, calm, like that. And then in the spelling sequence, DJ in the word middle position or anywhere, if you get a sequence of DJ, this we call as cluster. If you get any consonant cluster DJ, automatically you need to pronounce J, but D is silent. Like for example, adjective. Actually the spelling is ADJ, but here you need to pronounce as adjective. You don't pronounce it as adjective. Okay, adjective. And then next, N is silent in the word final sequence MN. If any word ends with MN, automatically the word N is silent, like autumn. Okay, and the next one is, G is silent in the sequence GN or GM in the word initial or word middle position, or maybe word end position also. So if you get a sequence GM or GN, automatically G is silent. No, GNAW, but you pronounce it as no. paradigm, paradigm. So GM, but you're not pronouncing it as paradigm, you're pronouncing it as paradigm. I, right? And then W is silent in the word final position, like flow, flow. You don't pronounce W at the word end position. And then W is silent in the sequence WR or WH when it comes in the word initial position, like for example WR, like for example right, WRITE, whom, WHOM, or so any words which starts with WR or WH, automatically W is silent. And then T is silent when it comes in between L and S, or L and S, or L and T is silent when it comes between S and L. Okay, T is silent when it comes between S and L or S and EN. Like for example, castle, CASTLE. So between S and L, T has come. So T should be silent. Or fasten, FASTEN. So between S and EN you have T. So this T is silent. Fasten. Okay. So just a recap of the 10 rules. Rule number 1, H is silent in a word sequence, GH when it comes in the word initial position. So second rule is B is silent in a sequence MB or BT when it comes at the end of the word or word final position. Example, comb, doubt. And then third rule, K is silent in the word sequence KN, and like for example in the word initial position. So again I'm repeating, K is silent in the sequence KN which comes in the word initial position, like for example knee, knowledge, like that. And then in the sequence of the letters LK and LM which come at the end of the word, the letter L is silent, like for example talk, calm, like that. And then in the spelling sequence DJ, D is silent, like adjective. Next, N is silent in the word final sequence MN. If you get MN at the word end, automatically N is silent. G is silent in the spelling sequence GN or GM in the maybe word initial or word end position, or maybe GM or GN. And then W is silent in the word final position, like flow. And W is silent in the sequence WR or WH which comes in the word initial position, like right, whom, etc. And then T is silent when it comes between S and L and S and EN. So between S and L, if you get T, then T is silent. Between S and EN, if you get T, T is silent. So these are the 10 rules which you need to remember in order to identify silent letters. There are many other examples which have followed. Why this silent letters? See, why don't we read all the letters and why don't we pronounce all the letters? See, because you cannot pronounce all the letters exactly, because all the words in English are not from English etymology, or their word origin is not from English. So there are n number of words which are borrowed from many other languages like Italian, Latin, French, German and other languages, even Hindi also. So based on their mother tongue, the pronunciation in the respective language mother tongue, you are supposed to pronounce. Like for example, if you want to read a word which is borrowed from Hindi, you have to pronounce it like a Hindi speaker. You're not supposed to pronounce like an English speaker. So for example, jungle. If you write jungle, you need to pronounce exactly like how the word is pronounced in Hindi, because the origin is Hindi. Or like noodles, or which is a German origin. or when you are talking about certain words like rickshaw. You have brought many words from many languages and you are supposed to pronounce, and how they pronounce and how they write the spelling, you have to follow the same pattern of the respective language. Alright, that is the basic reason why you are getting silent letters in English. Is it clear? Shall we move on to the next concept? I have a video here, you can listen to it in the face-to-face class. Alright, so now pronunciation of past tense and plural inflections. So what is this? What is past tense inflection and what is plural inflection? So there are three letters or sounds which we write. So in order to go for plural inflection, past tense inflections, inflection is nothing but the word endings. Especially for a verb you have past tense inflections or past tense markers, and for noun you have plural inflections. Okay, that means for past tense markers you will be adding ed or d or t in order to make it into a past tense form for the main verb. When it comes to pronunciation of plural markers, you need to add s or es or ies in order to give the plural form, a plural indicator. When you are adding these inflections after the sound, after the verb or after the noun, you need to pronounce exactly how you are supposed to pronounce. There are particular rules for that. Now I am going to tell you which rules are those. So I want you to just have a look and listen carefully, and next time when you are using them, use with the proper pronunciation, so that after a couple of months you get used to pronouncing in exactly how you are supposed to pronounce. Clear? Shall we move ahead? Very simple rules. Don't think too much, don't worry too much about it. Only 3 rules, but you have to remember the sounds. Okay, so first we'll see past tense inflections. So here there are 3 different ways to pronounce ed ending of regular verbs in the simple past. Why I have used regular verbs? Because regular verbs are the verbs which takes ed or t or d, and v2 and v3 are same. And this rule is applicable only for those forms, because for other forms which are irregular, as I mentioned in the previous video, you can go back to subject verb agreement video and watch where you will get ed or t or d in the regular forms. You don't get that in irregular forms. Okay, so just watch the video so that you have a clarity. Alright, now here there are 3 different types to pronounce the ed ending of regular verbs in the simple past tense. So how you need to pronounce? If you add ed or t or d to any verb form, for regular verb form, you have to pronounce it as that ed. You have to pronounce as it or t or d. I'm talking about sounds here. I'm not talking about letters. Id, t, d. Okay, so the pronunciation depends on the sound at the end of the infinitive of the verb. So at the end of the infinitive, how you will be pronouncing, that sound is very, very important. So where you have to use it, words that end in t or d. So if the verb form, if the verb ends with the sound, again I'm repeating, it's not letters, the sound t or d, then if you add ed, you need to pronounce it as id. Like for example, want. Here the last sound is t. So as per rule, what it says, if any verb ends with t sound or d sound, then automatically that ed you have to pronounce it as it. I wanted to do, not I wanted to do, but we are habituated. Try to go for actual pronunciation. Okay, so or decide. I'm not talking about letters, I'm talking about the sounds. When you use the word, pronounce the word decide, the last sound is D sound. So when you are adding ed, you need to pronounce it as it. So if you want to use it, I've decided to do, not decided. Okay, shall I repeat this rule? So rule number 1 in past tense markers is, what is the rule? If any regular verb ends with t or d sound, then you have to pronounce that ed which you add to it as id. Like wanted, decided, like that. Clear? Now we'll go for the second rule. If the words ends with p, k, f, s, sh, and this it is written as like this, but actually you have to pronounce, if you see the transcription, this should be sh sound and this should be ch sound, and p, k, f, s, sh, ch. How many sounds are here? 6 sounds. What are they? What are they? P, k, f, s, sh, ch, ch. Like church, ch. So for if any verb ends with any of these sounds, then the next ed you have to pronounce it as t. T. Like ed has to be pronounced as t. When we have to pronounce ed as t sound, when the word or the verb ends with, especially regular verb, ends with p, k, f, s, sh, ch. Any of these 6 sounds. Okay, then you have to pronounce it as t. Like see the example. Loft, loft, kissed. See the transcription beside that. Asked, asked. It's not asked, it is asked because k is ending. Then washed, watched, washed, washed. It is not washed, watched. It is t sound. Washed, watched, like that. Okay, that's these sounds. So excluding all these sounds, so which sound ed as it? If any verb ends with p, k, f, s, sh, ch, it has to be pronounced as t. That ed after that regular verb should be pronounced as t. Excluding these 8 sounds, rest all the sounds you need to pronounce as d. Like for example, closed, saved, traveled, opened, climbed, like that. Is it clear? So these are the 3 rules. I hope it's very easy to memorize. Only you should remember 8 sounds. Out of 8 sounds, 2 sounds after that. That means t and d. If any verb ends with t and d, you need to pronounce it as it. Okay, the ed which you pronounce after that t or d sound in that respective verb as it. And then p, k, s, sh, f, ch. These 6 sounds, if any regular verb ends with these 6 sounds, any of these 6 sounds, then you need to add ed, and that ed has to be pronounced as t. Except these 8 sounds, rest all the sounds, if you add ed, you have to pronounce it as d. Okay, so excluding 8 sounds, rest all the regular verbs, ed has to be pronounced as d. Clear? Shall we move on to plural inflections? That's also very simple actually. Rules for the correct pronunciation of the s ending. So the first, the sounds s, z, is. For your convenience, I am pronouncing it as s, z, is. But actually it is supposed to pronounce it as s, z, is, s, s, s. Okay? Okay. Now coming to the next rules, it is plural markers or plural inflections. For that, the first rule says if a word ends with the sounds s, z, sh, ch, j and j, and j, the final s is pronounced as is. Like for example, bush, bushes, bus, buses, buzz, buzzes, like that. Garbage, garbages, okay, garbages. Garage, garages. Okay, again I'm giving some examples for this, like bus, buses, bushes. So coming to the plural inflections, rule 1 says if a word ends with the sounds s, z, sh, ch, j, the final s is pronounced as is. And rule 2 says if the word ends with any other voiceless consonant sound, the final s is pronounced as s. And the third rule says if a word ends with any other voiced consonant sound or a vowel sound, so rest all the words, all the sounds, it has to be pronounced as z. Okay, so this is related to the correct pronunciation of the s ending. Okay, m, n, ng, these three are the sounds which are very very useful, and they are the sounds which we pronounce with the help of your nose. That's why we call them as nasal sounds. And based on the place of articulation, m is a bilabial nasal, and n is an alveolar nasal, and ng is a velar nasal. So coming to this, where we have to pronounce ng, and plus g can be replaced or can be kept one beside other, or one can be replaced, or one has to be completely removed, like for example, if the word is king, you don't have to pronounce that king, you pronounce it as king. So k, e, ng. So there's no other g sound. Or if you want to say something like this singer, so you say and no other g sound. To double consonants and ng sequencing. First we'll see ng sequencing rules. The first one is the letters ng is pronounced as ng in the word final position. Like for example, bring, king. If you see any of these words, the ng sound has come in the word end. And there are a couple of words where it comes in the middle of the word also, like for example, pink. That also you pronounce it as ng. The second rule is in the middle of the words, ng is pronounced ng in words formed from other words ending in ng. So for example, if the word is formed from other word, like maybe some suffix can be added as er or something like that. So such kind of words, well, where you have a root word and er is added as a suffix, in such a cases you should not write g sound, you have to only keep ng sound. Like singer, singer, it's not singer. Things, ringing, ringing. Alright? And the third, in all other cases, you have to use ng for ng. Like for example, finger, you say finger. So you need to use the ng sound and g also beside that. Hunger, g. Anger, anger. So in all other cases you have to use this. So two rules here. Rule number 1 says if ng is pronounced at the word end position, you have to pronounce it as ng, no g to be added. And in the word middle position, if the word is formed from other word where you have some suffixes added, in such case you are not supposed to use g along with ng. It's only ng. Example, singer, hunger, sorry. Rest all the other words where ng is there, you need to pronounce ng plus g. Like for example, hunger. Clear? Now double consonants. So all double, here I'm talking about sounds, again I'm repeating, I'm not talking about the letters. Now here all double consonant letters except double C are pronounced as a single consonant letter. So hammer, you need to write one m sound when you are writing the transcription. When you're writing the transcription for hammer, how you are supposed to write? M, hammer. Okay, so here it's only one sound representation. But when the word is something related to CC, if you have CC as double consonants based on certain things, like for example account, so CC is represented with k sound. Or accent, that CC will represent k and s sound. So this is related to double consonant letters. Except CC combination, anywhere if you get double letters, you have to pronounce in a single, you have to pronounce as a single sound. That CC, when you get, it may be pronounced as k or it may be pronounced as k and s combination. It depends on the word. Is it clear till this? Right. So today in these two sessions, I've explained to you what are the speech organs, and then place and manner of articulation. After that, sounds of English, and then letters and sounds, and how many silent letter rules are there you have learnt. After that, pronunciation of past tense and plural inflections, followed by NG sequencing, and then you have ended with double consonant letters. So in next session, I want you to just listen to all the sounds. I'll be sharing the video links, and I'll be sharing the animated video to listen to the sounds as many times as possible and try to identify the sounds. So I'll teach you how to look at your dictionary by using these sounds. Okay, this is very important for self-learning. So once students, if you have the zeal to learn by yourself and you don't want to rely to learn English from somebody else for each and every silly reason, you should know how to look at dictionary. Because as I already said, English is not only the language of the English. It is the words in English has been borrowed from various countries, and various language related words are incorporated into the dictionary. So you should know how to look at dictionary, and unless you know how to just check the words and its transcription for pronunciation, it is very difficult to be a good speaker of English. And I'm not saying you to become a Britisher, I'm not saying you to improve your accent to the best, but you have to clearly pronounce correct words. You're not supposed to wrongly pronounce. For example, if somebody pronounces your name in a wrong way, are you in a position to accept it? No. The same thing. So whatever word, however you have to pronounce, learn within fraction of months. I'm not saying within fraction of seconds and all that, but within months, it may be a couple of months. If you have the zeal to learn, it is not a tough job. And I told you the rules of silent letters, I told you the rules of past tense inflections, plural inflections, and double consonant letters, and there are a couple of Indianisms which we keep on using because of our mother tongue influence, that also you need to overcome. Like for example, west, west. When you say west, we use v sound instead of w sound, or w sound instead of v sound. So v in village is a labiodental sound, w in west is a bilabial sound. So the meaning is also different for both the words. So you should learn. Or for example, we say gate, we use a long vowel a sound for gate when you are using in Indian English, but the same word when you are using in British English or received pronunciation, we use it as gate. Or we'll say coat in Indian English. The same thing we use it as cat. Are there any coats available? Okay, so when you want to learn the English, and remember, stressed and unstressed sounds are very important, and whatever verbs we use, pronouns, nouns we use, all those words and important words in the sentence you need to stress. Auxiliary verbs, prepositions or conjunctions, all these parts of speech you can, articles you can unstress, because remember, English is a musical language. Speak English like English. Okay, at the same time I'll be giving you one tip also related to usage of articles. So when you see there are children who say the THE as the or THE as the. There is a rule. It's not just like that, pronouncing the whenever you want or the whenever you want. The rule says that if the succeeding word starts with a vowel sound, then we have to pronounce THE as the. If the succeeding word has a consonant sound, then THE has to be pronounced as the. The ventilator. Because don't see V sound. V is a consonant sound. So the previous THE should take the. The ventilator. The ventilator. The animals. The animals. The ventilator. The animals. The coronavirus. The coronavirus. Okay, clear? So the and the, there is a rule. So speak wherever you have to speak the, you have to speak there. Wherever you need to pronounce it as the, you need to pronounce there. Is it clear? So the assignment is listen to all the sounds, and when you come to the college I'll make you write all the sounds on the board, and you have to pronounce those sounds, and you need to write one word each in phonetic transcription. Okay, not the regular words. I want you to write phonetic transcription. Clear? So be very cautious and specific when you are doing it. Alright? Meet you in the next class. Thank you so much.